Alright guys, so in this video, I'm going to be talking about a mega stadium that didn't end up happening in Dubai. And like a lot of mega projects and super projects in Dubai, no one even knows what happened. It just never happened. This was originally designed back in 2016. They actually had another sports complex that was originally designed in 2014 that I'll talk about at the end. But this was the high-tech, futuristic super stadium that Dubai had designed. Dubai's current stadiums, they're really lackluster to where you would think they would be for a place that has so much luxury. This was supposed to be the centerpiece. This was supposed to be the main stadium that sat 60,000 people. And when you actually look at the technology that went into this, it is pretty crazy. It was designed in a way that would cool down the fans inside without the use of air conditioning. The structure would have a porous facade consisting of metal that allows air to pass through while also preventing hot sand from entering the grounds. Its roof would be made with a translucent Teflon-coated glass, which would not only provide the fans the feel of an open-aired stadium, but also reflect an estimated 75% of sunlight away from the field. Below the stadium, a large pool would serve as a natural thermal sink, cooling the air in the immediate vicinity. Finally, trees would be planted throughout the site to block hot winds sweeping from all directions. With a capacity of around 60,000, the bowl-like stadium would measure 1.3 square feet, making it the largest stadium in the United Arab Emirates. So that is a crazy design, and in typical Dubai fashion, you know, it's not surprising that they come up with something like this. The coolest thing about this stadium is just the overall exterior look of it. It is like a complete bowl shape, but then it's also got like little spikes pointed out. It's a really sweet design. And the way it's designed, basically on stilts, it's all with the idea that the stadium will be cooled without using air conditioning. And later in the article, it says at this point, there's no guarantee the stadium will be built. Well, we're in 2023. This article was from 2016. It still has not been built. Again, the funniest part of it is whenever you get these mega projects that don't end up happening in Dubai, there's so many of them. Like the last update on this stadium was it being announced in 2016. That's the last update. It just doesn't end up happening. And then you look up like, where is it now? Well, it never even, got off the planning stage. So it is kind of weird how Dubai has all these crazy things, but then when it comes to their stadiums, they did renovate one recently, but this was going to be like their grand, big, futuristic stadium that would have been cool to where, there's kind of the awning over top, which is the modern design for any soccer stadium in Europe. You've got massive expansions happening with Barcelona where they're adding the awning over top. That's kind of like the cool new trendy design. Of course, Dubai takes it to the next level, puts the stadium in like a bowl shape and tries to mimic air conditioning by cooling the stadium using a newer form of technology. The complex was also to include exercise pitches, a sports training hall, as well as a 5,000 capacity car park, a sports museum, a multi-purpose hall, and a conference and exhibition auditorium. So it was actually a bigger complex overall, but there it is right there. And yeah, the interior of it, I would say pretty bland. They didn't really show much in terms of the renderings, like the way the seats are configured, but it looks like your typical layout. You've got your upper deck, lower deck, you've got some type of club seating and things like that. But you can kind of see the overhang and the way it will look and kind of how the sun will be reflected off of the top or how it was supposed to be reflected off of the top. And then they also had another design called the Dubai Sports City Stadium, which also was going to be 60,000 in terms of capacity. The design is currently outdated because they came up with the newer design, but there you can see it, more of an Olympic type stadium, and it looks really out of date at this point. This was thought of in 2014, but yeah, their newer one that they designed was definitely better, but there is that as well. The interior of it looks like there's some suites and things like that. The one in 2014 was priced at $817 million. That's, in 2014. The one in 2016, I don't know exactly what the price of it would have been if you're talking about the technology that would have been involved in it. The overall complex, it's not just the stadium. It probably would have been valued at like 2.5 or 3 billion, I would say. And then this is another similar Dubai stadium design. This was called the Dubai 2020 Stadium, which was planned back in 2015, also with a capacity of 60K. It had a very similar situation in terms of the cooling mechanisms it would use to cool the stadium, but a very different design overall just looking at it. You can take a look at some of the renderings from it. The current status of this, it says design outdated. So this one also didn't happen, but you can see the overall design very similar in terms of the overhang, and you've got kind of the circle in the middle. And the exterior of the stadium, though, looks completely different. I like the bowl a little bit better than this one, but this one seems like it fits Dubai a bit more. I will say that. So it seems like Dubai is still searching for a mega stadium. All of their proposals seem to have not worked out for whatever reason, and we'll see if they can actually build a futuristic one. When you look at Wikipedia, you look at their current stadiums, again, they have renovated a few of them, but really, like, when you think of Dubai, you think of all this luxury, things like that, the stadiums are just not up to par when it comes to comparing it to the city and all their mega projects. And, I've just went through 3 of their designs that didn't end up happening. So we'll have to see if they end up actually building a stadium. I would imagine they would. So you can actually see like the demonstration of the technology and the design of how the sun would get reflected off of the roof of the stadium. And it looks like they've got some type of cold water being pumped into the bottom of the stadium. It's really an interesting idea. I wonder if it would actually work, but that's kind of their way to keep the stadium cool without burning up a ton of air conditioning. And then it seems like, 60K in terms of capacity, that seems a little bit low, but I mean, does Dubai really need a big soccer stadium anyways? You know what it kind of reminds me of? The Qatar stadiums. Those Qatar stadiums were so ridiculous. They literally built those things with the idea that they would be taken apart. They build state-of-the-art stadiums with the idea. One of the stadiums was actually built with shipping containers, literally, in Qatar. And I believe they've already dismantled it. But no, this would be completely different. This is like a $3 billion investment on an actual complex that they still hasn't happened. Again, Dubai, you would think with all the money that gets thrown around, but they've still yet to design like a super stadium like this. It says they've got 3 stadiums over 40K, but, obviously they had planned one for 60,000 a few different times, so we'll have to see if that ends up getting built. But I did just want to go over some of the old Dubai stadiums that did not happen. Maybe that 2016 stadium will get implemented in the future. I would imagine if Dubai does make some type of mega project super stadium, it would be with maybe they would include some type of translucent roof with how crazy it's getting, especially a place like Dubai, which is extremely hot. But right now, really their stadiums, I would say, are a little bit lackluster, even though a few of them have been renovated recently. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description.